The purpose of this afternoon is to advise you of the cross-ministry and community partnership that has been established to ensure child safety while at camp. With the summer holidays quickly approaching and the daunting task of finding safe, affordable camps, the Safe Camp Committee, with representatives from the Department of Child and Family Services, Youth and Sport, Child Development, Environmental Health, the Family Center, and the Coalition for the Protection of Children, has been set up with the purpose of ensuring that every child who attends a camp is safe. The committee was established as a result of the concerns expressed of camps, not just summer camps, not being monitored or regulated. The committee's purpose is twofold. One, to empower parents with the provision of information to ensure that the camps that they choose for their children are safe. Secondly, to provide camp operators with suggested guidelines to ensure that they are operating according to best practice standards. This is all being done with a view to showing our concern that our children are in an appropriate and nurturing environment. To date, the Safe Camp Committee has established a Facebook page, developed the top 10 things you should ask before sending your child to camp, reviewed the information guidelines for camp providers produced by Youth and Sport entitled Guidelines for Day and Overnight Camping Administrators, also explored a registration process and incentive for camps to register with the Department of Environmental Health. Future actions to complete this program will include Family Center to host, on behalf of the committee, pop-up workshops on running safe camps, public awareness campaign, looking at further policy development for camps, and making amendments to current legislation to include regulation of camps. We will be promoting the criteria for child protection and health and safety standards for managing camps, and knowing that knowledge is power, highlighting what parents should look for and ask before sending their children to camp. To this end, we developed the top 10 things you should ask before sending your child to camp. They include, number 1, where is the camp located? Is there a suitable and safe building structure for the camp's base? All programs should meet established guidelines for indoor space, free from hazards, in good condition, and meet environmental health standards. Number 2, who are the staff operating the camp? Do you do background checks on the staff? Are camp staff CPR or first aid trained? Are medical forms about campers collected? How are medications stored? At a minimum, camp staff should be trained in safety regulations, emergency procedures and communications, behavior management techniques, and child physical and sexual abuse prevention and reporting. 3, what is the camp's philosophy and program emphasis? Are the camp's programs or activities age and developmentally appropriate for the children they serve? What does a typical day look like for the camper? What does the camp focus on? How many hours are spent outside in the sun? Are the campers oriented to the camp and to systems put in place to keep campers safe? 4, what is the camp's behavior and disciplinary policy? What are the rules and consequences? How do they use positive reinforcement? Is there a policy on bullying? What is the behavior management philosophy? Will parents or guardians be contacted in the case of problematic behavior becoming a safety issue for that child or for others? Number 5, what is the counselor to camper ratio? Ratios and maximum group size vary according to age and activity. There's suggested ratios posted on the Environmental Health website, outlined in the guidelines for day and overnight camp administrators and the Safe Camps Bermuda Facebook page. I urge you as parents and guardians to look and apprise yourselves of that information. 6. What is the transportation or excursion policy? Does the camp provide transportation? If yes, is it via pre-organized vans or buses? What are the conditions of the vans? That is, things like seat belts or driver experience. What are the bus checks and balances to ensure safety en route? What are the contact numbers of a camp staff person who may be reached at all times, even if campers are out on excursions? 7. What is the water safety policy? Children should not be permitted near the water without supervision, and a staff member who is a first aid certified and familiar with life-saving procedures. All campers' ability to swim should be assessed and activities designed according to the skill level of each child. 8. What is the true cost of the camp? What does the camp fee include? Are there other expenses? Will outside activities cost extra? And is there a refund policy in the event that a camper has to withdraw from the camp? 9. Is the camp registered? All camps that take preschool-age children must have their camp registered with the Department of Environmental Health. Other camps wishing to be given a seal of approval should also be registered as striving to meet best practice standards and to keep children safe. 10. What is the policy on visitor and communicating concerns? How does the camp screen visitors? Parents should make sure that there is a method for making sure that unauthorized visitors are not allowed access to the children. Is there a method of accounting for children upon arrival and prior to dismissal, inclusive of a departure policy? You should also feel comfortable knowing with whom to lodge a concern or a grievance. To all parents, we know that knowledge is power and can most assuredly help to keep our children safe. We urge you again to visit the Facebook page for more information at Safe Camps Bermuda. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, questions?
I'm going to ask a question.
Let me read you the word.
Minister, yes, ma'am. Minister, we know in the travel agency from Bermuda Broadcasting.
Yes, sir.
We know in the past the camps have had teenagers, one adult and teenagers roaming throughout assisting. Is this going to be scrutinized, or how is this going to work? Or is it going to work at all? Or how many teens are in this program?
Well, clearly, we're talking about all camps across the island. So we're not speaking of any specific camp, but let me just say that it is most appropriate for our teenagers to be able to engage with younger people, to be a part of a properly structured and supervised camping experience. So for our teenagers to be able to have that exposure, many of our teenagers absolutely love children. And sometimes this is their first journey into how they embrace their love for children and perhaps even what they want to do in their future careers. So I believe that that interaction is to be encouraged. However, it is important that it is properly structured and properly supervised.
What's the rules and regulations? Does this go for government camps and private camps? What are the different rules for even private camps?
The regulations are for all camps. Obviously, government camps are more readily scrutinized, and there is a process in place. We want to ensure, as we mentioned, that all camps that bring in young people, toddlers, effectively, preschool age children, that they must be registered with the Department of Environmental Health. That's a matter of rules and regulations and law. However, other camps, we're inviting the campers and the camp organizers to register so that they can be effectively accredited And that way we know that there are certain standards that are being upheld and that our children, which is our primary concern, are safe under all circumstances.
Last question, what is the criteria for camp sizes? What is the largest one camp can have?
I think, as we mentioned, that it's all going to be dependent on the age and what the kinds of activities are that are going to be planned. Obviously, if you've got children who are where the focal point is swimming, you want to make sure that you have a very low ratio. Those numbers and what would be appropriate and what would be optimum would be included on the website. But it's important to know that if you've got young people, you've got a group of young people, you don't want 15 or 20 kids to one, adult supervising them, even if that adult is first aid ready or accredited. We want to make sure that with water, that there's a low number of children to supervisors, for those children. When it comes to camping activities such as maybe they're out there playing a sport, you can have a lesser number. So it's difficult to predetermine what the size of a camp will be. It's all going to be predicated on what the activities are planned for that camp.
Charles, anything? No, you good? Jonathan?
You mentioned,
Sorry.
you mentioned there was going to be regulation of the camps put in place. Do we know when that's going to be happening? The coalition have raised some concerns with us quite recently about similar types of things that were unregulated.
Right. Actually, what we try to find out is when there are deficiencies in our system, we address them. And clearly, if regulations have been missing, they have been missing for a while. I don't believe in pointing fingers. I believe in fixing problems. And as a result, we will look to ensuring that all of the regs are in place before next camping season, but that we want to ensure that as we go forward throughout the course of this summer and any other holiday period of time during which there will be camps, that there are good practicing standards in place.